This Sunday at 2 o'clock, Tottenham are about to prove to everybody in the Premier League why they are Champions League contenders. I think now that Spurs have sorted out their home form, our away form sort of goes hand in hand with that, and we have the best away record in the Premier League this season. The fact that we are now seemingly over our little hump of not being able to win games at home. We won the last two in a row, keeping a clean sheet, scoring plenty of goals. I think 5 goals in our last 2 games at home. These away trips, if we can continue grinding out wins and results away from home at tough grounds in the Premier League, I think Tottenham prove to everyone that they are Champions League contenders or capable of getting into the Champions League next season. Especially when you have a look at that Premier League table and you see just how close the standings are, which teams are where. You've got Crystal Palace in 4th, Aston Villa in 3rd, Everton, Brighton, Sunderland, Manchester United are the teams above us. I truly think that Tottenham are more than capable of breaking into that mould over the Christmas period. It's Nottingham Forest away this weekend. It's not an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. It gives me Leeds vibes. It feels sort of similar to when we go and play Leeds. On paper, Leeds aren't a very good team. And on paper, Nottingham Forest aren't a very good team, albeit they're probably better now under Sean Dyche than they were under Ange Postecoglou. But you just know going there and winning is never going to be easy. It's never easy for any team in the world to go to Ellen Road and win. We saw that with Liverpool last week. And in my opinion, it's the same for Nottingham Forest going to the City ground. The atmosphere is always really, really good. And they seemingly have a bit of a problem with Tottenham. I think after the Morgan Gibbs-White saga over the summer, I think him maybe and Nottingham Forest are going to be out to prove why he stayed. And, that's probably going to be the narrative and the line this weekend. But on paper, Tottenham should still be winning this game. They are not great. They have been struggling this season. They're right down towards the relegation zone. I think they sit 17th. They're only 2 points above the bottom 3, which is West Ham, Burnley and Wolves. And they've only got 4 wins to their names, a goal difference of -11. So there are struggles for Nottingham Forest this season. There are problems in their camp. Like I say, Sean Dyche has probably made them a bit more defensive-minded. And has maybe stopped them shipping as many goals. But, that comes at a cost. And I think a lot of their fans are probably resigned to just having to survive this season, to be totally honest with you. And for Spurs, we know that's not the case. We've struggled this season a little bit. But the last 3 games have kind of proved that maybe we're turning a new leaf in this chapter under Thomas Frank. The 2-2 draw at St James's Park, I'm hoping, was like his Pochettino moment. A really solid performance, come away with a decent point, and it gave us that confidence boost. And then to return home at a place where we'd only won once in the Premier League, and that was in the first weekend of the season against Burnley, who are almost certain to go down, to go there, to keep a clean sheet against Brentford, to pick up all 3 points, and then to do it a couple of days later in the Champions League, no less, in a pretty comfortable 3-0 win over Slavia Prague. I think all of the signs are there that Spurs are progressing now and are finally starting to become a bit more familiar with how Thomas Frank wants us to play football. It was really, really interesting on Tuesday night how Tottenham played their football. It was almost reminiscent of Ange ball. It was very attacking, but yet we were left quite open at the back. And I said this in my review video, maybe against a different team, we would have been punished, but we weren't. And that's a good sign. Whether that's us being good defensively or whether that's Slavia being wasteful in front of goal. Jed Spence was playing as like a number 10, which is like a trademark Ange Postecoglou thing, bringing those fullbacks inverted and playing in a more central role. So, yeah, it was very, very interesting to see. And we've not seen Spurs play that way under Thomas Frank so far. I do expect him to go back to a more traditional setup against Forest and probably a bit more of a defensive-minded one, just because it's away from home. And I think all of us agreed this season, it doesn't really matter too much about how we play away from home, particularly considering how awful our away record was last season. I think it's more about going there and picking up the points. And if we can walk away from the Midlands with 3 points on Sunday afternoon, we'll be delighted. We will be absolutely, I think, delighted, especially when you consider some of the other games that are on this weekend. I'm just pulling up the fixtures. and it's interesting. Obviously, Arsenal are at home to Wolves, which is, is what it is. But you've got Chelsea versus Everton, who are two teams above us. So one of them is going to be dropping points. You've got Liverpool versus Brighton, two teams that are around us, which is, again, I think going to be a very, very interesting match. You've got Sunderland versus Newcastle. Sunderland obviously above us, Newcastle in and around us. Crystal Palace versus Man City. Do you see where I'm going with this? Aston Villa away to West Ham. There are a lot of games where teams around us are going to be dropping points. So this just feels like such a big opportunity for us to be able to go out there, get 3 points, and move within touching distance of that top four. And if we could do that heading into the week up to Christmas, I'd be over the moon considering some of the struggles that we've had this season, because if we were able to hold on into 2026 and be able to challenge for those Champions League places, for me, that's a successful season under Thomas Frank, especially considering we've been dumped out of the Carabao Cup already. We've got Villa at home in the FA Cup third round, which is a very, very tough game, especially considering our home record and our record at home against Aston Villa in particular not being very good at all. So, our season may end up resting on where we finish in the table, and the European places, of course, I think are a bare minimum of that. Like I said, I think Thomas Frank will try and do everything possible to be able to achieve that this season and to be able to go to the City Ground and pick up 3 points. So for me, the lineup will probably maybe revert to type a little bit more in that sense. I think he'll play it a little bit safer from that perspective. So it'll be something like Vicario in goal, Jed Spence left back, obviously Van de Ven, Romero, Pedro Porro right back, and then we will go in midfield. Bentancur will probably come back into the midfield because he didn't play in midweek. Paulinho did. Whether he puts Paulinho in alongside him, I'm not entirely sure. I wouldn't be surprised to see Archie Gray start again. I think we're going to end up with a Bentancur, Archie Gray midfield pivot. And in the attack, I think Xavi Simons has to keep starting in that number 10 role, which I'm so glad to be sat here saying. Honestly, I'm so happy that we can sit here and be like, yeah, Xavi Simons has got to be starting every game now. 2 goals in 2 games. Obviously, a few assists in there as well, and just playing with so much more confidence. So he's going to be crucial in this game. And I do think he'll go with that, like Kolo Muani, Richarlison interchanging, one of them out wide, one of them up front, and then on the right hand side, Kudus. I think Odegaard, I think he played well in midweek. He dropped off maybe a little bit over the last few games, but that's the lineup. I personally, if I had to change it, Bentancur would come out and I'd put either Paulinho or Bergvall in there. I just can't see that happening. Like, Bergvall's not been getting as many starts recently, so maybe we do see him start alongside Bentancur instead of Archie Gray. That would be, I think, a very interesting development. But I'm weirdly confident about this game. And I guess, why shouldn't I be? Right? Away from home, have we lost one game away from home this season? And that was obviously to Arsenal in the Premier League. So I think we can take confidence. We may not always play fantastically well away from home, but we know what it takes to be able to go away from home and pick up points and win games. And that's a sign of a good team, in my opinion. That football will come later down the line. The most important thing is making sure that we stay in and around those European places. I cannot reiterate enough how important I think that is for Thomas Frank's future and for the future of Spurs. If we want to start this new chapter under ENIC and bringing new players in and investment and being able to draw those types of players that you all know who I'm talking about, I think that's hugely important. So I wouldn't be surprised with us going a bit more physical this weekend, because Forest are a physical team, they're a strong team, and that's why I see the likes of Richarlison and Kolo Muani starting, and maybe he'll go back to the Bentancur Paulinho pivot, but I really hope that he doesn't. The exception is obviously Xavi Simons, because I just don't think he can be dropped at the moment. And Jed Spence, who was excellent on Tuesday, needs to have another good game as well. It's not going to be easy, right? It's really not going to be easy. I'm actually going to go with a boring 1-0 Spurs win for this game, just because I do think it's going to be a classic Sunday 2:00 kickoff. It's on telly, everyone's watching, so it'll be rubbish. I think it will be tough. But I feel Tottenham can go there this weekend, pick up all 3 points and prove that they are Champions League contenders. I really do. Let me know your comments and your thoughts down below. What are your score predictions? Who would you start? Always interested to hear your guys' thoughts. If you've enjoyed the video, of course, like, subscribe, all of that usual malarkey. I'm hoping it's going to be another very, very good weekend and we can keep this run going heading into Christmas. But yeah, enjoy your weekend, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. All of that sort of stuff. You go into a game, stay safe as ever. I will catch you in another video very, very soon. But as always, come on, you Spurs.